It's been wrong in the past, even at those levels, but I do think it's a sure thing this time.
And I finally had a sure thing.
The stock market was a sure thing.
Sure thing.
Not a sure thing.
Sure thing.
It wasn't a sure thing.
It's a sure thing.
Amen.
Sure thing.
Sure thing.
Sure thing.
Sure thing.
Sure thing.
Sure thing.
Not a sure thing.
Sure thing.
Sure thing.
Sure thing.
Sure thing.
Sure thing. Sure thing.
Sure thing.
Sure thing.
I don't think it's a sure thing.
Sure thing.
Sure thing.
Not a sure thing. Sure thing.
Must be a sure thing.
But I don't think it's a sure thing.
Sure thing.
Sure thing.
Sure thing.
Nature, everybody wants to rule.
I can hear you.
Oh, mate, it's not that good. Hello?
Hello? I'm still here.
Mate, I bought those headset and it's the new one I've got sounds shit. Let me see if it's fucking plugged in properly.
Okay.
Go.
Yeah, I'm still here. How's that?
Hello?
Hello? Hello? Hello?
You're annoying, you're giving me a headache.
You're such a
Too
piece
loud,
of shit. Turn it down, man.
Hear me now?
Yeah, I can still hear you.
It's such a weird connection, man. Congratulations, dude. Comedy Awards last night.
Comedy Awards?
The Comedy Podcast Awards.
Oh, the Podcast Awards.
Australian Comedy Podcast Awards. Let's just ignore downloads and general popularity. Let's let some gatekeepers come, hand out some hors d'oeuvres, and let little pat on the back for mediocre podcasts that have no reach. I noticed Irrational Queer, congratulations. Fifth year running. Comedy Podcast of Australia. No downloads. Last episode was Cal Wilson tribute.
Wolfie, which podcast awards were these? Were these the Australian Podcast Awards? Were these the Podcast of Australia Awards? The People's Choice Podcast Awards? The Australian People's Choice Podcast Awards? The ABC Podcast Awards? The Pod Australian Podcast Awards?
Oh, dude, this was the Australian Comedy Podcast Award, I think. They're all vying to become the new gatekeeper. I do love the fact that these shameless fucking middlemen, these murky fucks, appear whenever there's money, the swamp will rise up, and these fucking scrubbers from ABC that have destroyed many comedians' careers and countless TV shows are now celebrating, and it's all on social media, and you're like, very weird. Erratic podcast that seems to be released sporadically, fucking maybe once every few weeks. They had a Cal Wilson tribute, one which was 9 minutes. 8 minutes of it was ads, Mitsubishi ads, and then one clip of her being on the podcast, and that is Comedian Podcast of the Year Award. Hello. And overwhelmed, blown away, because we ran the contest, we voted for it, blown away that our audience, do you know, we could have our own award. They vote for us by subscribing to our Patreon, and then we have a trophy night. Pretty much not far off what a kid does. Do you know when they're and he shoots and he scores and he wins the World Cup, runs around the garden, we win the World Cup. Oh, incredible stuff. To do that as a grown adult.
What is Irrational Fear? I've never heard of Irrational Fear.
You know what the irrational fear is? That theirs is an irrational fear, but it's actually rational that they can't reach an audience. I'm like, it's a rational fear that you've got there of mediocrity.
Damn.
This is the entire the humor of this. It's an irrational fear, and I'm like, no, it's actually completely rational, dude. That you may not be able to ever connect with an audience or create an original artwork. Whatever, man.
What did we win yesterday?
Well, we won. Guess what? Someone at the awards wrote our podcast name on their hand and held it up near the sign.
Did they
during
really?
one of the photos. Yeah. Sure Hing without the thing. Sure Hing.
Dude, Sure Heng would be a good spin-off podcast with Michael Heng.
Oh, dude, it's just amazing the demented backwater. I was talking to a comedian today, last night, and I was like, the relief I have that I have a day job, because I'm like, the shame you feel by actually admitting that you're a comedian, unless you're Carl Barron, is so jarring. And you saw it during COVID when a lot of the comedians would trying to sell an exercise bike or whatever, and you'd be like, oh my God, is that TV's famous beep in a share house? And I'm like, oh my God, there's another comedian behind with a baby. I'm like, I thought they were a big star on 10. I'm like, all 20 of them are living in one share house. And I'm like, they all exposed themselves, but I'm like, oh fuck, they're goddamn destitute. Is there an exercise bike in a kitchen? I'm like, is that TV's famed fucking thank God you're here prickery? It is. And I'm like, you're living in squalor. I had the same circumstance when I was on Oz study training to do my finance. I'm like, you can actually live like you are on government benefits. I'm like, you're nothing. But I was saying the joy I have at schools, because I tell them, they go, do you do comedy? I'm like, yeah, amateur hour, the Wiggles vehicle. I said, there's no engine in this shit. I said, I do it as an outlet to get out some of my rage. I said, there's no like career per se. I said, it's just, do you know what I mean? The same way you maybe do karaoke or Jeff does bowls. I said, I go down there with a few ideas, and you know, I used to do colour painting, watercolours, painting little...
sip and paint. You used to do little sip and paints.
I used to do colour and paint, but now I do comedy. And, oh, dude, we had to do beer festival. Fuck!
Man, how was the beer festival? How close did you come to committing another crime?
There were people that came down for the show, and oh my fucking God, dude. Daytime comedy, unbilled, no profile. Luke Heggy's obviously known. That guy's got traction.
Yeah. Mid-flight brawl, man.
But I do not. So
Our sister podcast, Mid-Flight Brawl.
Oh, yeah.
Remember that? Remember the heady days of them and us both having the same audience?
Oh, dude, I couldn't believe it. But even then, their numbers are dismal compared to American numbers. Like they uploaded a clip with Tim Dillon, and they got absolutely poleaxed. People going, how low has Dylan fallen to be on this? Look at the subscriber numbers. They're like, is this a charity event? Is this Make-A-Wish? Fucking hell. And this is a good pod. This is the best of the best in Australia, and it is actually a good pod. But I mean, the numbers are fucking dismal. Do you know what I mean? We're in there begging, can we make 1,000 Patreons? And I'm like, 1,000 Patreons is basically a homeless guy with a bin in New York is getting 8,000. Do you know what I mean? Like you yell, you put sunnies on, you're going up 3,000 Patreons in LA. We're in there and we're like, literally the most shameful thing is you recognize the Patreons. You know them. It's like a family.
This is at BFS, you mean you had people coming up to you who you knew.
The audience is so small that you perform at Dum Dum Club, then you're at Mid-Flight Ball, and it's all these dorky-looking guys with backpacks, and I'm like, for fuck's sake, the whole audience is just a fucking Dungeons and Dragon collective. There's 1,000 nerds that fucking corralled off podcasts and have created a life around this shit. I'm like, it's literally fucking Dimmicks Direct. There's no reach, dude. We need to shut this shit down, man. For our own self-respect. I'm like, dude, I've got a crazy guy now marketing me. He's setting up a pod. We've got an end-of-year show. He's done my photo and my bio. And he's paying for ads. I'm getting paid a shitload of money. I'm doing about 8 shows. And he's written my bio, a comic genius. And it's being paid ads. And people are saying, dude, did you write this bio? I'm like, no. A guy on a
what is this for? Is this an end of year? What do you mean an end of year show?
End of year show, big numbers I'm getting paid. He's doing advertising and it's basically a comic genius. Why is he not more well known? Who the fuck knows? Maybe because he's too fucking good. And it's like, oh my God. It looks like I've written it. Everything looks like I've written it. Those YouTube clips with the teddy, it looks like I'm in a shed moving the teddy. I'm not doing that. Okay? Just to let everyone know, I don't own teddies. I don't have a shed.
You're the Teddy podcast guy, aren't you? You're the Teddy podcast video guy.
Oh, dude. But it's actually, I like the Teddy. I like the Teddy because it gives me some distance from my words. Like, I don't want the mums at school seeing my desperation to get connection.
Man, I honestly thought that last episode we were going to get something bad was going to happen because it was fucking brutal. And I put it up when I was pretty tired. And then as I had a sleep and I woke up and I went back and I was like, man, what is this? We can't have this up there. This is atrocious.
Oh, what? What were we talking about? Some rape thing?
Man, fucking rape babies and how everyone in Australia has been as a product of rape.
Dude, everyone I stand by it. Australia is a colony of rape babies.
Yeah, I agree with it. It was just very hard. It was very harsh the whole way through.
Dude, well, you know what? Maybe
and then Andy Dufresne getting raped. And the whole episode was about different rape scenarios.
Dude, you set me up though, because that's a borrowed premise. I see Kings and Vagabonds are talking about that.
It's not a borrowed premise, man. I told you. I wrote that down. Weeks ago. And then Pender had that great clip about the very funny Morgan Freeman impression. I just thought it was.
Dude, so you're getting we're basically copying off them.
We're not copying off of them.
Sub-pod.
No, he just had we couldn't do it at the same time, and it was a different premise. It was just very peculiar that both of us had Shawshank Redemption themed premises on the same day, like 30 years later.
Oh, dude, I have it with all my new premises because always it's like Trivial Pursuit. Whatever area I'm in, there's another 8 open micers that seem to have the same topic. And I'm like, they're not doing the same jokes, but I'm like, hey, you know in Trivial Pursuit where you get the yellow and it's history, geography. I'm like, why are you always fucking in there? What the fuck? Everyone's now got a fucking premise on this topic. I'm like, why? Why can we not just pick different fucking topics? They're all obviously watching and then thinking, Andy Dufresne from Shawshank, and then they've got their own act out, Andy Dufresne. But anyway, BFS, dude, so it's day comedy.
Yeah, go on.
People have come down to watch it. Horrific. All the good jokes are off stage. They never laugh. Everyone laughs on WhatsApp. This is what I was saying on stage. I'm like, why don't you laugh like you do on your WhatsApp group, with your dumbass mates or your uncle? I said, when I'm on stage, you suddenly got fucking standards. Standards you don't hold to your own friend group, dickheads. I hear you on the train. You guys are losers, man. You're laughing at the lowest brow shit, and then suddenly when you paid $3 and you're in a tent, you suddenly got fucking standards. I'm like, your best mate is a hack, okay? He's a hack. Everything he said's boring. But anyway, so they were good riffs. We had a good riff. I had a good riff about... Today Tonight, how they made you on one of the shows. Today Tonight, how they make you act out the trauma. Do you know how they film it? How you've got footage like that. Chloe went missing in Exmouth, and then they had the footage of the mum holding a teddy bear, like a pink teddy bear on the bed, and I'm like, just the idea. Do you know what I mean? That they recreate. Do you know what I mean? Like when you actually reflect back and you're like, you see the woman sort of. There's someone banging on the window. Let me in. And I'm like, that's why Today Tonight and them's got cancelled, because it was traumatic. Because I remember growing up, if someone went missing, they didn't just tell you there's a kid missing.
No.
They'd have an act out of a brown sedan with a dwarf driving it, and you could hear a rattling sound and go, last scene here, and you could hear bad music playing. And as a kid, you're like, fucking hell, it's so real. And then it triggered me on the bit. Do you remember Crime Stoppers?
I mean, we didn't have this in New Zealand, but I get the premise.
So they used to have a TV show that showed you crimes, and kids would actually watch it and just go, fuck. You just see a girl being wrenched off a bike, and then they would film a little doll on the middle of the street as you saw a car speed off, and you're like, fuck, dude. So you had many little tidbit horror shows, just so you'd be getting ready for school, and then you see a kid being wrenched off a bike.
And then your parents are like, off you go. on your bike.
Yeah, you'd have a unicorn doll, and then when you're walking to school and you see a brown van, you're suddenly like, holy fuck, and you're having PTSD. I had so many PTSD moments. But what it reminded me of was the people that used to act on that.
Mm.
Can you imagine their life after, like, when they had like a Tinder profile and people are just getting a bad vibe about him, but he's actually played a molester on season 3 of Crime Stoppers, and that woman would go like, I love him so much, but he just gives me a bad feeling. You know, there's something off about that guy. There's something off. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. His pictures felt so familiar at first. I didn't know why, but then the closer I got to him and the more I got to know him, the more uncomfortable it became. It didn't feel like a good familiar after the first date. It felt like a very bad familiar.
Dude, and I think that's what happens with people recognize me from my bomb.
From your bombs?
And that's why I think I'm having so many weird experiences at the shops. I think I'm at the shops and I'm like, I think I'm going crazy and I'm like, why is this woman staring at me like this? And it's actually because she remembers me from BFS, because this was the accumulation of BFS. All 3 shows went well. 4th show, big problem. The act before me did 25 minutes. Anal sex, pussy, suck the dick, whatever the fuck. Killing. I had a couple there who came up to me and go, we recognize you from 2 years ago. You were that comic that assaulted the older man that wasn't laughing. You shoved him off the chair. And I go, oh, my God.
That is primarily what you should be remembered for at BFS, man, is that time you assaulted that man.
Well, I ran down and he said, what are you going to do about it? And I'm like, well,
Dude,
nothing.
it doesn't matter how you describe it because you're describing an assault. You can describe it however you want. It's an assault. So you might as well just say assaulted that man.
Okay, so but a new age assault because I pushed him with my left hand and held him up. What I regret
describing an assault, Wolfie. Every time you're like, all right, but it's a special kind of assault and then you detail an assault.
Well, what I regret not putting him in a wheelchair a second time because he wasn't in a wheelchair. I'd like to have, and they go, dude, this is unbelievable. They'll go, your 5th vertebrae is broken now as well. What's happened? And they go, an angry comedian lashed out at me because I wouldn't react. Anyway, so I told this couple, I go, oh my God. And they go, you're back on? They're shocked.
Slow down. You're going too fast. So
there's a couple, one backpacker, a hotter girl and a good looking guy. And they're like, dude, we saw you. You're back on? So I go, redemption, dude. I said, that was a one-off. That's a rare bomb for me. I am good up there, dude.
That almost never happens. It almost never happens that I threaten and then assault a man in the crowd.
I go, that was so unusual for me. It's actually significant. And I said, thank God I get a chance to redeem myself. So I go on. The DJ's playing louder than my mic. People are hammered. I open up. I go way too quickly into material. The first laugh, the only people laughing is the 2 couple. You've got this, man.
They're your supporters.
So they're supporting me, but only because I had got a bit of morale off stage.
Yes.
Everyone else is silent. Then I start panicking. I'm like, oh my fucking God, dude,
You're
it's
having
happening again.
flashbacks, dude. You're having flashbacks to 2 years ago to the last beer fest.
I'm yelling, I'm bombing up here. I'm bombing. This is fucking shit. I'm hitting premises, getting out of premises. I'm like, what's with cancer? Oh, no good. Fuck, cancer. I can't do this. Dementia. Fucking kill your mother. Rape your dog. Fuck. What's going on? Then a guy, so I've been going for about 15 minutes. Silence.
Fuck.
Sweating.
Quite long.
Then a guy goes, fuck, why don't you just say something funny? And I was like, he yelled, why don't you try new jokes? Because I think a lot of them have seen the show before. Why don't you do some new jokes? Why don't you say something funny? And I said, well, what do you do for fucking work, you fuckhead? And then he was like, I do a proper job. Proper job. I go, what's a proper job, you fucking slave? What do you do? I'm a welder. And I was like, oh, proper job. Gluing shit together like a fucking child. Clad glue. I said, you're fucking glorified playing with Lego, you dumb fuck. I said, what a shit cop-out. Oh, I weld things together. You know what? I used to stick gum under my desk. Same thing as your job, fuckhead. I put gum under my desk. That's the origin story of your stupid career. And then he goes, well, I've got... And I said, what do you got? I said, has your wife left you yet? When she's realised that's all you are good for. Anyway.
Had his wife left him? Did you hit the nail on the head there?
No, and he goes, no, I've got a beautiful wife and I've got 3 amazing kids. And I said, amazing until you realise all they're all going to become is just fucking welders. Because they go, I chew a bag of straw, you fuck. And then anyway, I'm crushing with this. Then people are saying, you're still not saying anything funny. And I'm like, well, guess what, cunts? I got paid before I did this show, so I couldn't give a fuck. I said, you guys think you get to judge my comedy. And I said, guess what? I've got all the data. I'm doing well. You're like the idiots that go to France and then think after a 2-week trip, you understand all of Europe. I said, you're fucking dickheads. I said, it's hard up here. It's not a good setup. You don't understand. Everything's against me. I've got good comedy. You guys are a bad audience. Anyway, saved. Sort of. Not really. But at least I vented out at them. Very weird afterwards. Then worse, I had agreed to do a podcast after. So these guys have filmed me.
Irrational Fear?
Irrational Fear was down there doing the Cal Wilson tribute episode with 90 Mitsubishi ads. And we were lucky enough to be graced by her genius 9 years ago for 1 minute. We will now shamelessly exploit that for clicks so that we can get our clicks over to a critical mass to win a prize. Anyway, so Irrational Fear was there. Dude, I ended up having to do a podcast. And I'm like, dude, do you not understand what happened? 20 minutes bombing in a tent. I don't want to do your fucking amateur hour podcast, okay? They go, come on, mate, you agreed. So I ended up going and getting a beer and then having to do a 25-minute podcast with 2 lights in my head with these 2 cunts talking to me. And I'm worried about what's come out because they promoted everyone that appeared, bands and everyone, but they left my name off. And I think it was because I went mental. That podcast is so bad. I went crazy.
What do you think you said?
Nothing worse than all Australians are rape babies. I mean, come on. It can't be worse than that. It's a rape island, dude. This place is a fucking cesspit.
We did lean in last week, yeah. We really did.
What is sophisticated about Australia?
I mean, who's claimed sophistication?
Don't we have the vibe of a younger brother trying to be cool? Everything we're doing is needy. We're always like, how good's our bridge? How good's our theatre? And I'm like, it's very much like the young brother that's riding on his bike trying to do jumps in front of the US and China and keep going, look at my tricks, look at my spokes. We're a real country. We're real boys, aren't we? Look at our iron ore, China. Take that for free. Just to try be valid. And then we buy their shit back. They're fucked submarines and we pay $1 billion and there arrives in 10, 20 years. Everything has the smell of younger brother sibling.
How'd you end up doing with, did it go well after you were insulting that guy?
Oh, no, man. Like, I had them on board at that point, but that was the end of my time. So I just left. I didn't do any stand-up. I basically dismantled that guy and then I was preparing to fight him. And then I went up to him and I did the classic like they would. Ha ha, bit of a laugh, hey? Just fucking joshing. Bit of a joke, brother. You loved it. And I go, you were great. You were incredible. The way you played with that. Ha, I knew you knew. A bit of banter, hey, about you being meaningless, your career being worthless, your wife being a whore, your kids sucking. I'm like, bit of friendly joshing, hey? I said, I knew you were up for it. When you yelled, I go, thanks. I go, thanks, mate. I was in a hole and then you were stupid enough to fucking pull down and look in and yell at me and I grabbed you and pulled you into the hole. So thanks for that. I said, as soon as I was in that hole and I saw you lean over and laugh at me, I was like, well, guess what, cunt? You're in the hole now and I'm out of the hole. And he did look very angry. But it was because I did that mind trick of acting like we were chummy and that it was
the
banter.
mind trick, dude. You Jedi'd him.
You know, like it was banter. Ha ha! I loved it. Beer for you. God, we good together. What a pair. Me fucking just dismantling everything you are to save my own tail on stage. Ha ha ha! God, we could tour the world, boy. We're friends forever. You dumb cunt. If you weren't such a fucking, basically, it was classism, dude. It was so despicable. It was the equivalent to just pushing. You're getting bullied, and then you yell at everyone. Look, there's a Downs boy at the back of the bus.
Yeah. Distract them all.
And then they go, there's a what? There's a what? And I'm like, look at that boy. He's not right. And then you go, let's get him. And then people go, oh, and then suddenly they're chasing someone else. You know, like the deflective bully. Where they go like, oh, what are you doing, Wolf? You're fucking fingering your mum, you piece of shit. And you're like, look at that guy. He looks like he's got a face drawn on a plate. I think he's Downs. Let's bash him. And they go, let's bash him. And then you're hitting him going like, sorry, dude. You whisper in his ear, sorry, dude, it was you or me. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, mate. I love Downs. I've dated a Downs. I'm sorry, my boy. Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, it's good, man. It's good.
Well, that's it, man.
What?
Dude, I had to go to a flat viewing.
Really? You went to one, or you have to go to one?
Dude, I looked at one, and you know what's crazy?
Did your parents organise the flat viewing for you, or did you organise?
No, I organised it myself, dude. I'm looking for a deal. I'm looking for a meth den, a drug lab. I'm like, what's the back area like? I'm saying, can we run power cords from the neighbours' utilities to run a little bit of a hydroponic setup here, my boy?
I have about 7 bathtubs I'm going to be hauling into this backyard.
You know what I was thinking? I was looking up, this is how demented I am, because you get nervous. You go, can I get it? And then you realise, oh, man, I saw the hippopotamus that was living there with one child that I think she was on welfare. I'm like, they signed up for her last year. I've got a good shot here. Do you know what I mean? And the other people, you see some crazy. Dude, there's some crazies there because there was a autistic guy right before me, and I regretted it because I went too close to him. He goes, hey, thank you. I loved it. It's an amazing place. He goes, just to let you know, I have no identification because I was pickpocketed today in the city. But I do have photographs of it. Is that a problem? And she goes, no, that'll be fine. And his story of pickpocketing was so fucking like forced excuse, you know, where you're like, too much detail, you stupid fuck. This is not how you lie. Get better. Then he said to them, he goes, just to also let you know, I'm on a student visa and it's getting upgraded. So the visa that you will see is not valid, but it'll be updated shortly after my tenancy. And I'm like, dude, this is an Instagram influencer, someone that does real estate placements for leases, does not give a shit about anything but her spray tan and getting the latest supply of Ozempic off those diabetics. So I'm like, do not give her detail. No one wants a nerd. It's amazing to me. And he probably emails his family in England. Can't, for the life of me, get a tenancy. And I'm like, maybe it's because you give a laundry list of problems before they even remember your name, mate. No one cares. Give these problems to them when they find them. And they realize, oh, your bank statements are forged. I'm like, yeah, well, how else am I going to get in there? I don't have valid money, okay? Where are you living? And I go, I made up an address. Of course. And they go, well, the landlord, and I said, well, that's annoying because I had paid a guy to forge.
Man, I did that when I went to Canada, dude. They need you to have like a minimum amount of money in all of your bank accounts. And there's a lot of Photoshops, all Photoshops.
Oh, dude, you Photoshop it all. My dream is the reference check is them. They ring someone out, and then it's their own mother. And they're like, hey, I just want to see how Andrew's going. And they're going, Heidi, is that you? Heidi, it's your mum. And you go, ah.
In retrospect, though, I think it's quite dangerous moving to another country with only $1,500 in your bank account.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know why I did that. It's fucking crazy.
Dude, that is... money is real. That was obviously that when I gambled all my money away and I had that, money is real and it's needed. Where I couldn't get a kebab or get home from the city.
Very necessary.
And I was like, I kind of regret having $0 now. I'd really want like one of those chips through that glass window. I'm really hungry. And I'm like, the illusion of money was actually quite valid. And then it was like that clip I was saying, realizing that I haven't had worse luck. I'm just poor now. Do you know what I mean?
Yep.
I've been telling everyone, dude, I've never had such bad luck. And then the penny dropped. No, you're destitute. You know what I mean? This was the teddy bear clip I tried to upload. 300 views. It's because you're on a bus. Back in the day, you were in a Maserati. Now you're on a bus. There's a homeless guy biting you.
Yeah.
You're getting sprayed by a puddle. You don't get the job. You know why? Because you printed out your fucking CV at Officeworks and they ran out of ink. And some drunk junkie spilt Red Bull on it as you were posting it off. Do you know, you posted it from the mail centre at Centrelink. The woman there quit an hour after. None of your CVs made it out. Do you know what I mean? Everything's against you. When you arrived, they could see your suit. It was 42 degrees. You're dripping in sweat. It's shining because it looks like a wetsuit because you bought a cheap one from fucking the Good Sammy's, the Oxfam. Yeah. And they're going, oh, his shoes. You could see his plastic shoes.
You can hear the squelching.
Oh, dude. And they see your watch and they're like, did you see his watch? That Bali Rolex? Oh, my God. We cannot have him on sales. He left and we could hear his squelching clown shoes and his watch made a weird Batman beat. Beep, beep, beep. I've never heard a Rolex with a Batman fucking alarm. What a fucking loser. And then when they ask you, can you respond? You can't because you're in a share house and someone hasn't paid the internet. So you respond the next day. Everyone else responds straight away. Like Autistic Boy would have responded. And you know what I fucking realised? I'm so disinterested in forms that the last 2 houses I applied for, I had wrong information on there. Are you a smoker? Yes. Do you have pets? Many. Many. What the fuck? Obviously, if it's a nice place, you say, I don't smoke, don't have pets, and if you get it and it's good enough, you get the dog put down. Move in. Or you release it and go, look, mate, I'm sorry, lassie, it's me or you. It's fucking survival of the fittest at this point.
Once you tell them that you don't have pets and then you bring pets, what are they going to do then? They say, I thought you didn't have pets. And you say, well, to celebrate getting this wonderful apartment, I thought I'd get myself some pets.
Yeah, to celebrate. And then you go like, hey, you said you're a non-smoker. And you go, the craziest thing happened at my celebratory awards. I had a party to celebrate the new digs. And this cool guy that looked like Fonzarelli offered me this thing. And I was like, you know what? Fuck it. Things are going well. Let me have one little toke of that bad boy.
I was a non-smoker pre the housewarming party and this beautiful accommodation. This beautiful 1-bedroom, 1-bathroom accommodation that I'll be living at.
I've had such low self-esteem, I wouldn't have done that. But the ego boost of getting your studio apartment, I thought, what better than standing on that balcony with a big fat jube, a big fat fucking cigar, like Tony fucking Soprano, dude. I'm the king now. I bought a gown, I've got slippers, I've got a shotgun, and I smoke Cuban cigars. I'm sorry, dude. The power went to my head. No one's ever trusted me on a lease. Do you know what? It's a very confronting moment being reviewed like that as a human being.
Yeah.
Because you start to give the timeline of where you've been living, what you've been doing, and it makes for some sad reading.
How have you been filling out these forms, man? Have you been saying, like when it asks current situation, are you saying that you've been living with your parents? Are you giving them as the reference?
Well, dude, initially I said I still lived in the Netherlands house, but then I realized they can verify that I don't own it anymore. So that's insane. That's insane because I was in such denial that I was like, I still own it. Shut up. But then you realize, oh, dude, people are very judgmental. They timeline you.
Yeah.
So if you've lived with your parents for 3 years, that may negate your chartered accountancy or global risk position because they think, what's wrong with him? Why does he live there so long? And then when you give the details of your car, and you're like, Captiva, and then you go, I know they were recalled, but my engine's good. You want to give like I'm not a loser. I'm not a loser. It's a good Captiva, bro. But you know what I mean? Everything reveals your life as you fill out that form. Give us a reference. I'm like, I don't have a fucking job, dickhead. Where have you been living? At my parents'. Give us your car. Shit, how much is it worth? I don't know, $200? And then they're like, what stuff are you moving in with? Nothing. A fucking sleeping bag that I'll buy from the Oxfam. I don't have any furniture. They go, do you have any plates or cutlery? Or I'm like, I don't even have a fucking bicycle, dude. I don't own anything. I've got a fucking beach towel in the back of my car.
What's the nicest thing that you've retained possession of from your wealthy days?
Dude, I've just got some crazy extravagant purchases.
Yeah.
So I've got like no money, but then I've got a desk that's like the wing of a Spitfire plane bent that's worth thousands of dollars. And I'm like, that's my desk. So I've got a cheap stool, a kid's stool, but my desk is worth fucking thousands of dollars. And then I've got a lot of mirrors.
A lot of mirrors?
I've got these fucking,
what do you mean?
I've got these sort of like high status mirrors that are worth like 5 to 10 grand with awnings and gold fucking films and, you know, that look like they would be in a mansion.
You're living like Better Call Saul. It's like the last episodes where where they're fucking repoing his house and they're taking out the gold suits and the fucking gold trim jacuzzis getting pulled out of the bathroom.
So there's a laptop and then there's throw rugs that are animal skins and some crazy shit that just like goes, fuck, has this junkie robbed a rich guy's house? Because he has a few memorabilia that seem way, like, why would he have spent a year's wage on mirrors? That must be a year's savings for him, and he's bought 8 mirrors worth more than what most people earn in a year. This fucking dickhead. Crazy shit.
What about clothes? You don't have like an $8,000 suit lying around or a $40,000 watch.
All my suits got worn out, but you know what? It's actually been
They got worn out.
No, I just wore them because if you get the expensive ones and you don't treat them well, they don't last long.
No. And I assume you're wearing them all the time to give the illusion of status.
Dude, and the thing is, the thread counts like the invisible suit. What's that saying? The emperor in his invisible suit.
The emperor's new clothes, yeah.
Yeah, the good suits, you feel like you're naked. You actually feel like you're walking around with a micro erection in meetings. Like you don't feel like you got clothes on. That is the status. You've got your watch is very heavy. But you know what's crazy is people adorn themselves with stuff and think it lifts them up. But it just makes them...
It drags them down.
All it does is reveal that they have not free from the herd, that they still worry about their perception by losers, that the support cast of this generation, that they think that they feel better, that the supporting cast, the extras of our lifetime, validate them. I'm like, obviously, 99% of the people are meaningless. That 1% rule was correct. Do you know the 1%?
Yeah.
Yeah, the only people that matter.
That matter?
Dude, it's seaweed. Do you know when you go to the beach and it's crystal clear water and then you swim through and you hit seaweed? That's most of the human beings. They're just in you and you're like, who gives a fuck if seaweed sees your watch? Just swim through them and out the back and then you can relax on your back with decent fucking folk, which is probably, if we get down to it, there's probably 1,000 people alive right now that are worthwhile. Maybe 10,000 people that are actually fucking original. I would say there's probably 10,000 of 8 billion that are original thinkers. The rest are generic copies. They're the equivalent to the Rolex rip-off watch, the fake Adidas, the ball. And none of them are aware of it because they fucking, do you know what I mean? They come up and give me advice after bombing at Beer Fest. I'm like, focus on your own shit, dickhead.
Yeah.
What's your hobby?
Yeah.
Do you know what you do? Which this guy kept going, man, you got to have more confidence up there. And I kept going, well,
Was this during the set? Was this during the set?
No, after. And I think it was a gay guy trying to bang me because he saw a wounded prey. But he kept asking me. He kept telling me, and he goes, you got to be more confident. You're funny, man. And I go, well, what's your hobby? And he just would never. He wanted it. I think he's a real estate agent because I later saw on the side of a bus that a guy with the sort of comb over, fat, 50-year-old sales boy. But he kept asking and I kept going, well, what's your hobby? And he didn't want to give it to me. He was trying to define me and say that I'm a comedian. I'm like, this is a hobby, fuckhead. You have a bad game of squash. I don't care. It doesn't matter if you play golf and I go round for 60. I'm just having a laugh. I know that you paid and they gave the impression I was Carl Barron, but this is just paintballing. It's a movie. It's fucking pottery. I'm down here having a little bit of a laugh. Couldn't give a fuck whether you had a good day. I don't care that you got babysitters and this is a big deal for you. This means nothing to me. I don't want to engage when I go to the squash courts and talk about the league. I've had a hit. I've got my endorphins up. I've yelled at a working class guy and pointed out that he's working class and that he's a fucking slave. I've done what I wanted. A crime that you can't be convicted for. Wasting people's time, which is all I'm trying to do in comedy now. I'm trying to get 100 people in a room and waste an hour of their life and go, well, you'll never get that back. And you know what? If you do bad enough, you'll never forget this hour, will you? You can be memorable in bad ways. Not everything has to be good. You can be memorably bad.
You're like Hitler.
That's what I'm saying. Do you know what? Everyone wants to excel. If you're truly comfortable with your ego, what better thing than to do 10 shows in Melbourne Comedy Festival to 100 people and actually traumatize them, like PTSD them. Like a crime watch. Like when they see, I saw the dwarf in the van. He loaded the girl in the boot.
Hold on, I need to blow my nose. Hold on.
Get the sunnies on, mate. That's the cool look.
Sorry.
Oh, dude, the shame I felt of putting that Instagram teddy bear video up. We had cut out of Chloe Madron's fucking pod a clip from her on my socials. I hadn't uploaded it, and then the guy that helped made it tagged her, and she was just so confused. She was like, why are you making clips from my pod?
Wait,
And I'm like, well,
is he
because
doing that?
What?
Why is he making clips of her pod for...
I didn't know. She was like, why are you making clips of my pod? And I'm like, well, we're out of fucking content, aren't we, dude? Like, we need your shit now. You've got an audience. Maybe your lighting's better. I don't know. We're fucking running. We're running the algorithm, dude.
How was the flat that you were looking at, man?
Oh, dude. Unbelievable. Like, you realize how much you've been denied not owning a house. Like, I just forgot the joy of, like, just the euphoria you felt of potentially having a hideaway from this world that was your own, that you weren't molested by someone else's ideas or someone else influencing how you experienced the moment. Because living with other people, there's always someone else pointing something else. Hey, there's a bit of paint chipped off that. What's happened? That's broken. Did you see that? You're missing the shoes. Do you know what I mean? Like, just to be able to control your own thought and go, there's a bird on that post. That's pretty. Not someone going, hey, who scratched this? What's happened here? Do you realize you haven't done your tax, Andrew? What's going on? Do you know what I mean? Like,
wait, are you referring to your parents being the ones who are influencing your life? Or
no,
are you...
I'm talking about everyone.
Oh, but I'm trying to decipher whether you're talking about...
I'm talking about when you live just to have your own space where you can have your own mission, which is I'm going to have Cocoa Pops.
Okay, yeah. That's what I thought. I wasn't sure if you meant like owning a house.
No.
In contrast to renting a house where someone with a landlord or the fucking property manager is like, you can't do this, you can't do that.
No, what I meant is that just being able to control your own a space that's yours. And you go, you know what?
Right, yeah.
Maybe I have a pretty pot plant up there on that wall so I can look at it as I jack off. Maybe I'll have like curtains. Why not have curtains? Curtains like, do you know what I mean? Just being able to actually create a safe place.
So you're excited at the idea of not living with your parents?
Dude, I actually looked at Jimmy Fallon. He was selling his house. And I'm like, fucking hell, what a loser, dude. He was basically like a Dum Dum fan. He's like made it like Simpsons. The thing looked like a child's cartoon. He had millions of dollars. He's selling it for $38 million. He's got a crooked staircase and weird paraphernalia, and it looked basically like Big, the movie Big, where it's got a piano staircase, and I'm like, the guy's a fucking child. His bed looked like crayon bed.
Oh, look, he's got a slide to get from one floor to another.
His kitchen looked like something from a Disney movie, like a Pixar movie. The guy lives in a Pixar world, and I'm like, the humor, because I saw Dr. Phil had the same. His house was absolute, what's it called? You know, where it's I was going to say slime again, but it's not. He had the Donald Trump vibe. You know, where it was very ostentatious but cheap and tacky.
Right, like gaudy, garish.
Gaudy's the word. So
Yeah.
Dr. Phil's house was unlivable. The dining room looked like you're coming the bad side of hallucinogens. You're coming off mushrooms, and you're like, oh no, it's so much. God, I fucking shouldn't have mixed fucking marijuana with LSD. It's fucked. And then I saw Kanye West. He had he had a big fishing lake with a weird compound that looked like a helicopter could land there, and that's where he wanted to live. And I'm like, even with all the money, they still live like homeless people. Like, there's no fucking class there. The working class all do Swedish setup. It's all like IKEA fucking shit.
Yeah.
And then the rich people have to be eccentric. So they dress it like 101 Dalmatians, their apartment, with slip and slides and a fucking Looney Tunes clock. And I'm like, everyone's fucking off their tits. All you need is what I'm going to have, which is 3 sleeping bags and a smoking implement. And a glass bowl. Dude, you know what would be good is you set up your pad like a fucking drug den. And they see you moving in and there's just bongs, glass bongs, Bob Marley, Rasta man. And they go, dude, why are you wearing a beanie? And you've got dreadlocks? Rasta man, Master Rasta man. And the neighbors come around and you go, yo, no worry, no cry. And they're hearing like Rasta playing. Yo, brother, come around for a spliff later.
Hey, my brother. Can't wait to be moving in here. We're going to be having a great time.
Dude, how can they get angry if you're being like a Rasta? And you're like, yo, brother, chill, man. And they're like, you've been on fucking, it's Monday. Why are you smoking marijuana on your porch? And you're like, you need to be with the mother, the earth mother.
Ja, you got to be with Ja, man.
So who knows? I spoke to her, my girl. I applied.
My girl too.
I'd already done a lie application for another house that I got rejected on. So I tweaked some of my white lies about where I lived and what I actually do and my name and my birth date and everything that I'd lied on. And then we'll wait and see, hey? There's very different market renting because renting, you've got judgment, right?
Yeah.
Back in the day, I used to buy the house and you'd go in drunk to the viewing, but you knew you could buy it for cash. So fucking lick a ball bag, you sales rep.
Yeah. It's brutal renting in comparison, man. I always found the best thing to do was to take, like, you'd fill in one of the forms, but then photocopy it and send it to all of the places at once before you went to any of the viewings. And that way, like, whenever I've gone in for a rental viewing, like, you wait around till the end, and then when the other 12 people who are looking at the place leave, the real estate agent is like, so do you like it? And you're like, yeah, it's good. And you're like, okay, cool. Well, you've already been pre-approved, so it's yours. Great, done. Here's the keys.
Oh, really? You just wait to the end?
Because you'd go to a viewing and there'd be fucking 12 other people there, but I've already applied for the place. They've got it.
Oh, that's good. In Australia, you can't apply in WA until you've seen it?
Well, I don't know about that. That sounds fucking gay as hell, dude.
We've done it in London, right, where I went drunk to a viewing and was trying to have a shower and, like, get crazy. But what I've actually realised is you need a company that does viewings for you. And it's just like Uber Eats. You've just got people with short back and sides in suits that go into the thing and go like, yeah. Well, I'm not going to be here much. And they're Andrew Wolf. So I don't have to waste my fucking time.
Yeah.
You pay $100 and you get this fucking Malaysian student to go around and act very courteous and say, well, I like to grow my bonsais or whatever the fuck. Say whatever the fuck they need to hear. You know what I'm saying? Like, get charismatic. You know the guy, there's a guy in every group that the mums love. Do you know in every group has Gavin, who all the mums go, why can't you meet someone like Gavin? Get Gavin.
Yeah, a guy who's not a fuckhead, yeah.
He's referee, boy, and he's just basically on a scooter. He's referee. He goes from house viewing to house viewing going, hey, I'm Andrew Wolf. Pleasure to meet you. Ooh, have you been working out? Did it hurt when you fell from heaven and got that spray tan? Jennifer or whatever. And you're getting in with aliases. And then they don't remember. Because the real estate agent doesn't really care. And this is what I've realized as also what they do, which they did in recruitment as well, is they do not do a complete test. Like they will get applications, and once they find a good one, that's it. They're done.
Yeah.
What they should really do is look at all 100 and find the best one if they're actually doing a proper job.
Not a fucking chance.
It was the same for recruitment. You get 1,000 ones and it's pot luck, and then they just go KPMG.
Yeah, because man, that's the thing with the recruitment, man. You don't want anyone who's unlucky. So you throw half of them away immediately. Because those cunts are unlucky. You don't want those people.
Dude, it's actually like a bias. The unlucky, like if your CV came up, you're a lucky one.
Yeah, exactly.
You're probably going to be lucky on the deal in Malaysia.
Yeah. Why do you need to see the place before you apply for the place in WA?
I think because of that arm shake, caveat emptor, they want you to have had transparency of what you're renting. As in otherwise they could be an element of deception where the photos are like doctored.
Yeah, but if you apply for the place, that doesn't mean they have to give it to you. Like you can apply for it beforehand, right?
Yeah, but they're talking about there's just in the real estate here, there's a consent and they want you to have transparency of what you're signing for or even agreeing to agree with. I don't know, man. I didn't rate the law.
I feel like this law doesn't stop the thing that I'm suggesting where you apply beforehand and they've because it's not even about them having decided that you'll take the place. It's just that you've applied so early. It's so easy for them to go yeah, sure, you can have it.
I do like that idea of justifying the recruiters where they go, well, he was the first guy from KPMG that came out the pass. So he must be the lucky one.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And you're just not doing the work. And it's just this logic bias where you're like, well, it looks like Enrique's a lucky boy. And he's going to be lucky for us when we're setting up this online betting app. Come in, lucky. And I'm going, let me guess. You got parking right out front, didn't you, Enrique? You lucky boy. You're a lucky boy. And we've hired him for his luck. Imagine if you had a lucky boy, like a golden goose that you rub before deals. And you go, let's go and give lucky boy a rub. We've got a big meeting coming up. And he's on a beanbag and you rung, and he's KPMG. He got 100% guessing on a multi-choice. He's our lucky charm. A lucky charm, man. I would if I got rich, you know how they have worry beads? Like Rene Rifkin had worry beads. I'd have lucky charms, which are just lucky people. That you go, what the fuck? He survived flight 1842. They go, never has it happened 40,000 feet. We came in there, he was still eating his fucking vegetarian meal. He's watching Mission Impossible on the screen after it collapsed. And we're like, well, he's my lucky charm. And you'd rub him before you tried to even have sex with your wife so you can conceive a lucky baby. And you've got a lucky charm. A boy that you rub, eventually you rub his hair off and you go, yeah, he's fucking worn out.
He's just balding at the front, got no eyebrows.
And then you suddenly you rub the last of his hair and you go, not so lucky after all, are you bald cunt?
Yeah, man. As soon as he gets rear-ended outside in the car park and he walks in, he's out, man. He's out the door. He's being escorted away.
Or eventually you wear away the luck when he's got scoliosis and his skin's worn away and he's leather, and you're like, you don't look lucky anymore. Get out of here. And I'm going, I guess you're out of luck, cunt. But dude, what a beautiful. To have lucky charms, to hire every company. It's like the mascot. And that's what I was thinking. Why in sport do you keep the one mascot? You should be fying and go we want the goat, that lucky goat. You should have a Saudi businessman paying $500 million to bring in a goat and go, we want the pelican. Do you know what I mean? You should change mascots. You should trade them.
Why have the one mascot when you could have many, many mascots?
But do you imagine if it was Grimace?
Well, I mean, okay, so imagine you're the West Coast Eagles, right? And you've got your big eagle mascot, and they've got they've got the dolphins or the sheep or whatever, and then they come in for an an away game against you in your stadium, and what have you got? You've got a bigger dolphin as well as the eagle.
Yeah, well, that's
They're
it.
furious.
That's clever. And the other move is, because I'm more like superstitious, if I had a sports franchise, I'd be changing it all the time. And I'd be like, the harps, the lucky violins. And then they'd go, hey, is this like the toy from a Happy Meal? Exactly. I think we're onto something here. The toy from a Happy Meal is now our mascot. Fuck the eagle. We lost 14 points last week. I have found a fucking Monopoly, a Monopoly card from McDonald's. That's, you know what I mean? Like, you're just using, and then when you get a little run on, you get superstitious and go, the hairband from that missing child. Whatever. You know, the last piece of clothing from Chloe, who was abducted.
Oh,
there was a girl
so
abducted
sad for
from here.
Chloe. Chloe's a real person, I take it, who's gone missing recently?
Well, remember we had the episode where her family was so neglectful that we spoke about how it was probably the best time of her life where she was actually getting some attention. Because the guy didn't actually do anything with her. He just played dolls with her.
Oh, yeah.
We spoke how that actually might have been her formative childhood memories where someone had actually put
With
some
Alan.
fucking time rather than mum and dad fighting and dad going off for long fishing trips, which is what they're actually up there for, to fucking illegally spear squid outside of season probably. Do you know what I mean? Like the fucking...
Yeah.
The crumb bag, it's Matilda, the story, you know, the crummy family.
Can we do
How many good people come from crummy families? Almost always.
How many good people come from crummy families?
No, because I was talking to a comedian last night and they go like, if that guy hadn't had such a childhood, he would have been a genius. And I'm like, dude, it was the childhood that made the genius. You get it the wrong way around. I'm like, they always think he would have changed evolution. He would have changed the car. I'm like, the fact that he got woot woot by dad actually helped him
You mean
become the
fucked
genius.
because he got fucked by dad.
No, now we have to soften everything because this generation hasn't had any hard.
We have to soften everything nowadays because this generation hasn't been fucked by dad.
Yeah, well,
That's
we got
the
to
problem
say
with this generation is they haven't been fucked by dad enough.
the fact he got whoopsied, whatever. I love that. It's actually the most offensive is to try and make it whoopsie. They had a little whoopsie.
Dad had a little accident on his child,
I think if you pod enough, it's like improv. It eventually stops being yes and and it's just yelling rape babies repeatedly. Like the natural Tim Dillon story arc, Theo Vaughn, fucking Bob Segura, Tim Segura, whatever, Tom Segura.
Tom Segura, yeah.
It all digresses basically to just go, and then I shat my pants and fucking fuck off and prick and cunt. Do you know what I mean? Like it just becomes toilet humor.
Can we do Fix It please?
But can I just ask you one last thing?
Yes, you can, of course.
We were talking about, this is crazy.
Yeah.
Like that they had a John Cleese roast.
What do you mean?
With
what do you mean? Where?
They had a TV roast of John Cleese.
Okay.
With Australian comics. So they'd all come. The Australian comics had come from their share house. They bus in there, and then they try to take paint off the guy that made Faulty Towers and is an icon. It was a bit like when Melbourne Comedy Festival started ripping into Barry Humphries, and I'm like, hey, chill out, dude. I know that you're on Amazon Prime, but you need to give a little bit of umbrage to someone that's done a lot, right? You can't have a roast when you're also like the secret sound on Triple M. You can't really then try fucking rip into John Cleese. It's crazy.
Yeah.
I'm just saying anyway, what I was saying is it's crazy that someone thought that might work. So like every person that came on, you'd be like, who the fuck's this guy? And then you go, well, we all know who John Cleese is, but who is Pinocchio from Pinocchio? And he goes, yeah, you bloody bum. You've got some old school views. You're a bummer. But anyway, dude, it was a bit like Australian Comedy Podcast Awards, and I'm like, who do you have to fuck to get one of those certificates?
I think it's pretty pay to play, man, because they kept sending me emails being like, "Hey, the Australian Podcast Awards are coming up, and you've got a bloody podcast. How about you get yourself in there, the bloody podcasts?"
I know what we're going to do next year. I want to actually promote that we've officially taken out a restraining order on them to cease and desist and stop emailing us to try get us to sign up to this stupid fucking circle jerk. It's a circle jerk session, dude.
Man, because honestly, I thought the Australian Podcast Awards had happened sometime in like April, maybe.
No, dude, it was last night.
I know. It's just that I get emails from them every week. I get emails from the Australian Podcast Awards. I thought it was done, and they were doing like the Australian Podcast Awards for next year. But it just turns out since April, they've been hawking the Australian Podcast Awards for this year.
Well, I've got to give you a hot tip. Irrational Queer have won every year.
I am very upset about this, that Irrational Queer have stolen it from under our noses again. We were so close. So close. A sure thing podcast once again coming in runner-up on the Australian Podcast Awards.
Unbelievable, because very akin to a country town just printing out a certificate for their pies. Just fucking the height of stupidity.
Why aren't we just claiming that we won the Australian Podcast Awards? Or something a slight variation on the title, like the Podcast Australian Awards.
You know why? Because it belies what they are, seeking validation of others. We are out here renegades. We're mavericks. We don't need to be fucking validated by numbers. Yes, we do, really.
Is it the Australian Podcast Awards or the Australia Podcast Awards?
Oh, you know what? You know what he should have done? Australasia, because let's be honest, who's checking the geography?
Slightly bigger. Why not the episode artwork for this one is that we won the Australia Podcast Awards. We just have to take the N off.
Why not Mr. Universe Podcast Galaxy Award? Multiverse.
Oh, that's even better, dude. That's pretty cool.
Multiverse in
the multiverse.
So we're outside of the realm of, you have to be in the third eye to see our victory. The DMT, we're in the fourth realm, the fifth realm.
We won the Marvel Extended Universe Podcast Awards.
Dude, we're in there, and it's a certificate reverse, and it's a side pro, blah, blah. All I think is I just love the thought of the guy that printed the trophies then collecting one of them on the night and putting it back on his mantle, but actually in his parents' Datsun, collecting the 19 comedy awards certificate from industrial area and thinking, ooh, I wonder who'll win this big fake award ceremony that I set up, and then taking one for himself and then giving 8 to another needy people that need validation. And then the worst thing is people share it. What you should actually do is, hey, if you're getting pestered by this fucking spam email account, please report it to Microsoft and get them fucking banned.
Yeah, report them to the IECC, whichever internet fucking thing deals with spam blacklisting email accounts.
Because you know what actually happened? We've got a thing called download numbers, and I looked it up, and Hard Yarns in comedy interviews gets more downloads than Irrational Queer, and so they have been robbed. The Hard Yarn boys are outperforming. They've got a bigger reach.
Let's do picks of the week. I want to do the picks of the week.
Oh, you know what my pick of the week? Next year, Irrational Queer winning Comedy Pod of the Year. A clean sweep. Most academic, most entertaining, the best fucking cover art, the best microphone technique.
Business, comedy, and arts and society. It's crazy how well they're doing.
It's amazing. He beat the History Channel. He doesn't even do history. He won history Pod of the Year. And you know what the funniest thing is? It actually works. Because I'm getting kicked out of my parents' house and he's probably staying in his. Because he's got a certificate that he's got printed down at the shops.
We have still no movement on TPD. Continues to not move at all. When's the sale coming through? Because we've got that email from him.
On the 7th of December, they'll vote on it. But
Fuck
even
me.
the head of STX said it's this arbitrage opportunity where someone's shorting STX and then buying Talon. And then they're just spinning it for small numbers because the Talon's price is just reflective of that pricing ratio. So they're just running it. It should. My problem is I've got contracts for difference pulled in and I don't actually know what happens once Talon suspends and then moves across to STX. So I might actually have to sell just to be safe.
Yeah, that's a good question. What does happen then?
I've got to ring them up and I'm sure some graduate will go, it'll be fine. And then I'll be like, 200 grand missing, you fucking idiot.
And you'll be completely liquidated.
And they'll say, sorry, look at the contract. It doesn't exist anymore. You've lost all the money. And I'll be like, you fucking scumbag. Sorry, them the rules. Look at the fine print. It said here, no smoking, no pets, no CFDs.
Well, wouldn't the CFDs, I guess, like, wouldn't they execute or something if that was the case?
No, I think what will happen is hopefully they've got SE3 coming through. So hopefully it'll get a little run and I'll close it out and then I'll put all my money across into Strike, waiting for that to rebound. So
Yeah.
I'm actually got a very stressful thing because my average price is about 19 and it's 18 and a half now. And I'm like, hey, can we just get 20 cents so I can get the fuck out of this shit before I
Dude,
end up
I
losing?
told you that this was going to happen, man. I told you that playing this difference, even if it was very small, at some point you were going to be in the position where, like, it was slightly down and you were a little bit off.
Yeah, well, that's what happened. But I've got TG6. I managed to trade that up a little bit.
Oh, really? From what?
Well, I got in on the bounce like 75 to 92 and then exited.
Okay, that's nice. That's good.
It was
So
all right.
this is where all of that rental money's coming from.
Dude, I heard the geologist at... Oh, who knows? I better not actually say this in a pod.
Okay. Okay. The geologist for TG6, I take it.
No, maybe not. Whatever, man. Let's keep that one offline, hey?
Okay, what else are we looking at the moment? How's Hazel?
Yeah. So we've got DXB, which is so cheap now. I'm loving life.
How's oh, sorry, I was just looking up Hazer. No, that's doing fuck all. And then what, DGB?
You know what kills me is I was trading, like looking at stuff like OBM or a Banda, and that was like 11 cents and it's 20 now. And I'm like, literally anything's better than Talon.
Yeah. And to be fair, all of your picks, aside from Talon, the past month, have done really fucking well, man.
Wow.
If you go a month back, if you had taken all of that Talon money a month back and put it in literally anything else, or might I suggest diversified it across all of these different tickets.
Yeah. That would have been good.
Fuck, man. Oh, dude, you'd be coming. You'd be doing big comes everywhere.
Dude, but I actually spoke to my parents about it and they don't seem to realise
What don't they realize?
what I'm trying to achieve here. I said, well...
I think they realize what you're trying to achieve, man. They must do because you've been repeating it for so long.
But what I explained to them, I go, you do understand that what I'm doing is trying to undermine the entire conscious existence,
Dude,
right?
listen to this. Mum, Dad, you do realize what I'm trying to do. Mum and Dad, I'm trying to undermine the entire financial system, Mum and Dad. Come on,
Do you
Mum and
understand-
Dad. I'm
do you
trying to undermine the financial
Hey,
system
Mummy.
here, Mum and Dad.
Mummy, another toasted cheese. Anyway, heads up. I am trying to undermine... No, because what I'm trying to do here, dude, is replicate a life in 2 trades. So basically, once this comes good, I have replicated someone's entire professional career financially.
I know. We know.
So once I hit 5 mil, that's someone's whole lifetime earnings.
Yeah.
And I've done that in 3 chess moves. Now, obviously, I don't have that victory right now, but when I do get it, I win. Because they will continue living and I get to go like, and they go, wow, you got lucky, you know, things happen, who knew? We were right to tell you to go get a desk job. And I'm like, the numbers are in, bitch. I earned your life's income in 2 trades. And you know what? One of the codes was an accident. I had a transposition error and I matched your entire doctor's
To be
career.
honest with you, I didn't know that you could actually have a number in a ticker, and I put in something else. I thought it was TGX, not TG6.
And imagine talking to that welder and going, how much do you earn a year? Okay, multiply that, you're going to die at 70. Guess what, fuckhead? I made that number in 2 trades.
Yeah. Imagine.
And I'll go like,
man, that's the key word there, isn't it, man? Imagine.
Yeah, but dude, I've done it before.
I know you've done it before, and I believe in you. It's just you're telling me the same. You're telling me the same thing you've told me many times.
But what I'm saying,
I don't agree with you or understand, and I do agree with you and understand.
No, but I'm not telling you the same time. I was saying to you that WC8 and TG6 were those viable, provable entries that achieved that.
I know you should have put your money in there, man.
No, but what I'm saying to you is I would be crazy if like I'm spouting hundreds of stocks. But what I'm saying to you is those 2 trades, if they had been executed and Talon had come in earlier and just given me even 20% yield, if I'd gone that trade to that trade, I've replicated someone's entire work. So then what is the point of their life? They learned to read, they went to kindergarten, they went to university, they got their first CV, they did their first trip to Sri Lanka, they came back, they bought a house, they saved for it, they put the pool in, they renovated, then they retired and died, and I did that in 2 trades, brother.
Yeah.
So why bother? If I found a mechanism that replicates...
Yeah, you did that in 2 trades or in 3 years or 4 years or however long.
Yeah, but what I'm saying to you is I'm trying to replicate someone's entire life in 2 moves. So, of course, it's quite hard.
You already had this life, man. You had this life and lost. I'm on your side. I know. It's just that we've broken it down to this. We've said this many times.
People are saying, well, why hasn't it happened? I'm like, well, guess what? It's pretty hard to replicate an entire conscious life in 2 trades. So it might take a few tries. Sorry. Okay? It's fucking hard.
I know. I'm on your team. It doesn't, but saying this doesn't make it any less funny when you're telling your parents, Mom, Dad, I'm trying to undermine the entire financial system.
But anyway, so the long and the short of it is I'm desperate to get the fuck out of Talon and get into Hazer.
Yeah, and get the fuck out of your parents' place and into a new place. So Hazer, so that's what the scheme is, huh? Out of Talon into Hazer.
Well, Hazer is coming in. They're very annoying because they sort of ran up a bit today.
Yeah.
But the problem is they've already told us they're going to start testing this fucking technology. But they write in the update, also we've decided we're going to shut down over Christmas, New Year's. I'm like, what? So you can do old Lang Syne? Just fucking do your job, dickheads. How about you take 1 year off Christmas? What the fuck?
I mean, that seems kind of good, though, because we need to get the fuck out of TPD.
Yeah, we'll get out of TPD so we'll have time and then we can
I mean, that's what, like, them not doing anything over Christmas, New Year, that's great. Like, we need to fucking wrap this up over Christmas so we can use Hazer being on break.
Dude, I was watching a TikTok and it made me realize, like, Christmas is very nasty for the colorblind because the green-red is basically, they see nothing.
That's quite funny, man. The idea that, like, the best time of the year, the most family-oriented time of the year is just a bleak grey for you because you're colorblind.
It just, someone had mentioned on a TikTok, but I thought it was quite a funny insight to realize that all the Christmas Grinches are just colorblind and they just see they're like, why is everyone so happy? And they're all wearing scarves. The Christmas tree looks like one generic color. They're like, it's actually the most bland period of the whole year because everyone's wearing fucking red and green. But dude, I better go because I
gotta go. I have fucking awful hay fever. I'm fucked.
I got a message from it was bring a cushion to school day and my ex hasn't given my boy a cushion. So I'm going to, for the last hour of the day.
Bring a cushion to school day? What the fuck do you mean? Why can't they just use chairs?
Well, dude, every school, every few weeks, there's a dumb, harebrained idea. Make a wish, day. Bring a cushion. Bring a cushion today.
Yeah.
And I messaged and said, hey, you made sure to give him a cushion, did you? And then I had 3 missed calls during this pod. And because of my commitment to the audience is more important than my own son, I ignored this. So everyone listening right now know that my boy is sitting on fucking plastic developing his inner being because he's the only boy without a fucking My Little Pony cushion. And for what? So we could talk about fucking Irrational Queer's award?
Yeah. And how we were runner-up.
Well, you know what? And I don't want to sound like a sore loser. So you know what? Congratulations, Irrational Fear, for your award. You've well earned. Congratulations. You must be proud, and I tip the cap to you for all that you're putting into the pod sphere.
All right, let's go. I'm fucked.
Good on you. You're fucking poison to the pod world. It's our world, and you're living in it, Irrational Fear.
I'm just glad that we were nominated and we were recognised runners-up, and to lose to such a great podcast as Irrational Fear.
Well, guess what? Everyone's so nice, but I live in Perth now, and I'm a sore loser. And if you win next year, I'll bash you. Dude, this is what I told someone, like, I told you this story, right?
What one?
Where a guy in the crowd came up and said, you better be funny. And I said, you better laugh or I'll beat the fuck out of you after the show. I said, I'll be watching you and your wife, and if you don't laugh at every joke, you're getting attacked. And he was like, are you joking? And I'm like, no. Get back there and get the job done, fuckhead. That's a good twist.
Let's go. I'll talk to you later.
Bye, man. See you later.
Bye.
50.